Hello, Cryptonauts. Welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. I'm your host, Jake Jabarelli, with my co-host, Blockchain John, here on the 15th, not the 14th, the 15th of February, 2023 for episode 487. We're getting so close to 500. Thank goodness the news is exciting.
Yep.
Check out our coin tree. Let's get into the news, because there's no point in talking about this. Let's
Yep.
just get right into it.
Keanu Reeves. Talk about Keanu Reeves. All right, guess what? Keanu Reeves is getting into crypto. Is he? I don't know. We'll find out. All right. So you guys know who Keanu Reeves is, right? Keanu Reeves, The Matrix. The Matrix. Actually, he's played in a lot of
Matrix
movies.
4 was an amazing movie. I saw it. I own it. I
He's
watched
played-
it
he's
5 times. I
in
love it.
a lot of movies, man. John Wick is my favorite. That's coming out pretty soon. John Wick 4 is coming out pretty soon.
Yes, I own the
Bro.
3 previous movies. And
Have you
I'm
seen
looking
them?
forward to 4. Yeah, I own them. Of course I've seen them. I
Are you
watch
gonna
them
watch
all
the
the
fourth
time.
one?
I love that. He's amazing.
You gonna watch the fourth one when it comes out?
Absolutely. Not in the movies. I'll wait till it comes out on video, but yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of movies, actually, that's probably a different topic. That's AMC's just
Just talk about
destroying
Keanu
it,
Reeves
man.
and why he's into crypto.
Yeah,
Because he's into crypto.
he's definitely into crypto and talking about the metaverse and how he likes it. You know, he's thinking about using AI and the metaverse and merge them because that's pretty much what everyone's doing, right? At first, he was against it because the idea that anybody can kind of clone or copy your NFT or your image or GIF per se and just recreate it, that's nothing special, right? At least in his eyes at the time. But there's I think he took the red pill, right, or the orange pill, right.
Orange
he
pill.
took the orange pill, so now he's in it, he knows what crypto's about now, right. So
Orange pill being the color of Bitcoin's icon, right?
yeah. So he's talking about that. Here's a quote that he's saying. Yeah, people are growing up with these tools. He's talking about AI and NFTs. We're listening to music already that's made by AI in the style of Nirvana. There's NFT digital art, which is true. It's all out there. It's great. So this is another way to express art, and using technology. And Keanu Reeves is all into that, right? So that's what he's pretty much leading up to. At first he didn't want anything to do with it because it's a bunch of fluff, but now you're starting to understand that there's actually real use value behind this. It also looks like he's interested in working with a charity. Down at the bottom, there's a charity down here that is backed by NFT projects, non-fungible labs, and the fluff worlds. It aims to make the metaverse accessible to more people, especially from disadvantaged backgrounds. That's amazing. And Reeves, he's always been a guy that's been a giving guy. That's what he does. So to see him do this, the there it is, the Futureverse Foundation. That is amazing. What do you say?
I'm thinking about this, that in the time when Keanu Reeves kind of started his career back in the early 90s, or maybe it was late 80s, but beginning of the 90s, computers themselves were just becoming a thing in the sense of like everyone having one. The internet was just starting, and I was thinking that I became aware of the internet in like 1988, I think, but we didn't really get a chance to use it until 1991. AOL, and anyways, the point I'm trying to get at is that it took us at least 10 years. Honestly, I don't feel like the internet really seriously became a divisive or definitive thing until social media really became a thing. I mean, obviously we had AOL in the beginning. I don't really consider that to be social media. Early 2000s, like early mid 2000s, that's when the internet started hitting its stride. And so I feel like the same kind of thing is beginning to happen with crypto. Crypto's been around for 15 years now, and people are beginning to understand what it can be, or 14 years. But anyways, what it can be used for, how it's functional. It's not just this craze like the internet was described as in the beginning. People are beginning to see its practicality and what it can actually do. And that's where we're getting to the point where I can only imagine what crypto will look like in a decade from now, because people were like, "Oh yeah, crypto is, it's just everyone uses crypto. That's just how it's normal, just like the internet." And so I think Keanu Reeves is seeing that and saying, "Hey, this could be really lucrative and useful," but not because he's trying to make money on it. the man's may not be a billionaire, or maybe he is. I don't know. he doesn't have to think about money anymore. He's just trying to think about what's practical and what he can do with what the tools are that he has.
Yep.
So good.
If you're a big fan of Keanu Reeves and you want to do what Keanu Reeves is doing, check out Futureverse Foundation, where Mr. Reeves is an advisor for the digital arts. He's helping people learn how to get into the NFT space and become artists. So if you want to help out and volunteer, you can do that as well. It's an easy way to onboard people.
And we all know that despite his personal or his character on screen, he's a very different person in real life. It's almost like the contrast between is it John Wayne and his real life personality, or it's weird. John Wayne was a tough guy, but he was an ass in real life. And Keanu Reeves might be a tough guy on the screen, but he's nice, very kind, very generous, loving person in real life. Moving on to trash news, BNB token plunges as Binance, that is Paxos, shutter BUSD. That's the stablecoin for Binance and its production. It's all going downhill now. John, you said something about it's not going away right away.
So the regulators came in and kind of slapped Paxos in the face, because they looked at their books and actually, who was it? It was Coinbase. Coinbase was a whistleblower on this and told regulators that BUSD is not backed 1-to-1. And regulators took a look in Paxos's books and found out that that Binance was actually commingling funds technically with customer funds and their stablecoin wallets, which you're not supposed to do. If your BUSD is supposed to be backed 1-to-1, that's all you're supposed to have in that wallet. Customer funds are supposed to be separate. So they found out a good thing that it was a couple of million. I think it was like under 100 million. I think it was. So that can easily be patched. That can be easily fixed. The numbers can be corrected. That's not an issue. But it is taking it's going to be a black eye for Binance and CZ.
Binance, but see, this harkens back. What was the proof of funds, right? The proof of funds thing that we were trying to work on for so long. And what were people doing? What was happening with proof of funds? They were passing the funds around. Say, look, we have proof of funds. Look, we have the funds. And then once the scrutiny moved away from them, they moved the money over to someone. Look, we have the funds. Look, we have proof. We have dude. You have to have it all the time. You can't just have it when someone's eyeing you.
So now Paxos Paxos, being a legitimate company, doesn't want to get shut down by regulators. Absolutely not. So immediately they said right away they're going to stop issuing more BUSD. They will continue to manage the currently
what they have, right?
Yeah, currently circulating supply, but eventually in the next few years, I think it was like in 5 years, that they're gonna actually stop it indefinitely. So it gives CZ, is it 5 years or 10 years? I got to look down into the article. I read it yesterday, and let's see here. Give me a second. I will find it.
They are, regardless of whether or not. The fact of the matter is, like, I know I still hold some BUSD, but they're not getting rid of it. Unfortunately, compared to Terra and Luna, it's not. The value isn't just evaporating. People they're finding this problem out and resolving it now, rather than having it collapse like what happened with Terra. So fortunately, we're not just running everything around. Although, honestly, considering the number of crashes that's happened in the last year, it wouldn't be anything new. It's not great. But the other thing, we also talked about the fact that what was it? The guy, the founder of Paxos and CZ from Binance are talking about fighting against regulators, and that, well, in particular, Gary Gensler. And his charade against all crusade, not charade. It's crusade against all.
Well, see, that's not fair.
As being a security.
That's absolutely not fair. Of course, it doesn't make sense to call a stablecoin a security. But just really quick, just to give you an update on that, it is February 2024. That is 1 year from now that Paxos is going to stop BUSD. So
if you have any BUSD, please take it out and move it to something else. So you don't lose it in a year when
Well,
it stops
I
functioning.
think what Paxos is going to do is swap it out for another stablecoin that they're going to be using, but it's not going to be BUSD. So at the time being, Binance has 1 year, and I don't know if that's kind of a short time span, but they got to figure out what they're going to do with.
They could do it really fast. It's a question of doing it, and they've had all these opportunities in different programs for BUSD, and BUSD was everywhere.
So,
I want to just make a funny contrast comment about this. For a while there, while the scrutiny was going on, particularly from August until December of last year, a lot of people were either not updating their Monero wallets, for people who support it through decentralized or non-custodial wallets. Now, suddenly, Monero is back on the market. I mean, Monero never went away, right? You just had to hold it yourself. But a lot of these wallet companies were just like, yeah, we're just going to ignore that for right now. Well, the same thing goes here. In a very short order, we're going to see saying any wallets like Trust Wallet does have BUSD on it. You're going to see BUSD people are going to be told, you need to remove your BUSD completely, like move it somewhere else, because we're not going to have BUSD on the Trust Wallet anymore.
yeah. So when the regulators came and told Paxos, hey, we're gonna consider BUSD a stablecoin, and we're gonna take it to court for that. And Paxos right away, including CZ, straight up said absolutely not. If I think CZ tweeted out, if you try to claim stablecoin or BUSD, the stablecoin, to be a security token, that's actually going to affect the entire crypto market, not just BUSD. So do not do that. I'm warning you. And then Paxos came back with an email stating that if you do that, I swear to you, in professional manners, I swear to you, I'll come back and I'll haunt your nightmares, man. Paxos not playing, man. Don't play around with Paxos.
Moving on to some ordinal stuff, not ordinary, but ordinal related stuff. A Bored Ape Yacht owner,
Number
apparently
1626.
the 1626 Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT burned his NFT and moved it from Ethereum to Bitcoin.
Yeah, so there's this
How
new
do you
thing.
even do that?
So there's this new thing called Teleburn. A lot of people are trying to trend onto this now because the new wave is using the Bitcoin blockchain to create your NFTs. That's what everyone's doing. It's been the new hype for the past 2
They're
weeks.
not NFTs though. These aren't NFTs, remember?
You're absolutely right, but try to convince the people that are coming from the Bored Ape Yacht Club family, from the Ethereum family. They're calling them Bitcoin, and literally, you go to hashtag Bitcoin NFTs. That's like trending right now. Please.
They're not NFTs. Ordinals are inscriptions.
Exactly.
Oh, it's interesting. The thing that bothers me so much about this, we already know, and if anybody wants to know, you can check out the very, very long discussion that John had with, what was the name of the guy that you had on
I forgot.
Twitter live. All right. Well, we have a video, and you guys can check it out. It's on our list, and it's title appropriate, about ordinals. It's basically what the explanation of what ordinals are. The thing I'm worried about with this, and I know this is not explicitly about this article, but it whenever something comes on the market, well, into the market, not necessarily onto the market, it's not 100% tested or really proved out, and people jump on board real quick. Mm-hmm. Reminds me an awful lot of a rug pull named Squid Game coin. Now, that's not to say that this is the same thing. This is not the same sort of thing as a smart contract. And the one thing that I do remember as a takeaway from that article, or from the talk that you had with that guy on Twitter Live, was, it wasn't Twitter, it was Discord, sorry, was that inscriptions are permanent. You can't remove them. Mm-hmm. There's no way for a third party to go in there and scrub it. But once it's on there forever. And if you need to make a change, you can't.
Yeah,
I think this is the reason this person. Go ahead.
There's actually been updates since then, and I got to look a little more deeper into this. But what I've heard is that once you create the inscription stays attached into the wallet forever. Even if you think you sent it off, you're just sending an IOU or a receipt thereof, representing the actual ordinal or the inscription that you created. So initially, because this is all just, it's still being discovered. People are figuring this out. The initial idea was that if you send it off, people are going to actually receive it. But now, oh no, you are receiving something that represents that. And initially, people thought that that's what it was. But now people are realizing that's not what it is. It is a receipt of so-called inscription, NFT, image, GIF,
the
whatever.
inscriptions are permanent because they are inscriptions, but they're not NFTs. Even though they technically act like or similarly act like a non-fungible token. They're not the way that, so NFTs can be moved to other people because they're just like it's like a coin value, right? It's an object on the chain, whereas an inscription is permanently attached to that Satoshi, right? So, how do you sell a permanent inscription?
That's a good point, but apparently it's already happened. One Satoshi for 9.5 Bitcoin. Yeah, it is a big LOL, right?
It's like, okay, I guess we could sell Satoshis. Does that mean that Satoshis are worth more? No, it means that Satoshi is worth more.
Exactly. That's insane, dude. That was just
we sold Satoshis for a different value of Ethereum.
Can you believe
Bitcoin.
that? There's 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin, and yet one of those Satoshis was worth 9.5 Bitcoin. Oh my God. Anyways, back on track. In regards to BAYC 1626, this individual had his Bored Ape on Ethereum and no longer wanted to be part of the Ethereum bandwagon. Therefore, he jumped ship, burned his Bored Ape off of the Ethereum blockchain into a burn wallet, and reminted it on the Bitcoin blockchain. That's what this article is about, and he's proud to do that. But now Yuga Labs is coming back and saying, absolutely not. That is not a legitimate Bored Ape. That is not part of the original collection. The original collection was burned as the owner sent it to a burn wallet. And so what was recreated is not an official Bored Ape and therefore has no value.
But can he still sell that? That's the thing that's tricky. When we talked about this the other day,
as of right now, there are no markets. People are currently, there's no current, because it's so new that we're not even 30 days into this. It's so new that people are only trading these or selling these via Discord servers. It's
literally OTC, over the counter. They're not selling them through OpenSea, which I'm sure OpenSea pissed about because they're losing them. But I would say hard one to OpenSea because I don't give a crap that they're losing money since they've made so damn much money already off of the markets they currently have.
Scam people, bro.
See, this is OTC is the way it should have been all along. It should. Of course, the problem, of course, with OTC is you easily get scammed.
The pros
Not
and
that you
cons,
can't get scammed on OpenSea, but
the pros and cons with inscriptions or the people moving over and utilizing the inscription tool is that the pro is that now everybody that is making inscriptions must have, capitalized, must have a Bitcoin Core wallet. That's great. That's more decentralization. Right. That's more core wallets being
It forces more Bitcoin Core wallets to exist.
Okay?
Yep.
The con is that now you're actually you're bloating the network with technically.
And we're going to make
graffiti.
Bitcoin as slower than Ethereum.
Another pro is that it's now almost which the miners are raving about right now because it's these transaction fees that are coming back is about 3% of the reward rate, which is amazing because there's nothing ever been out there. There's nothing out there like that. This is the first time that these transactions, people are paying these transaction fees at a much higher price. People want to pay this, and of course the miners are willing to take it, and they're claiming a bigger transaction fee prize out of it. It's great, man. It's great for the network. But
it's building Bitcoin back up a bit, yeah.
It is. The only thing that I think there's going to be bloatware at the end of this. Like it's just going to be, just imagine having a saggy diaper. You don't want to have that for long.
It's going to be horrific. I mean, all right. Remember, we talked about this before. How big is the core of Ethereum? It's like 20 terabytes. I mean, there are 20 terabyte hard drives in existence now, so you could technically have it all on one hard drive, but obviously
There's not too many people out there other than corporations.
the capacity of hard drives will get greater and greater over time. So 20 terabytes won't sound like a whole lot in the future. But the fact of the matter is, the current, I haven't looked it up since Ordinal started, but prior to Ordinal starting, Bitcoin's core wallet was 350 gigs. Are we going to make Bitcoin into the new Ethereum? Are we going to have, hundreds of million, or I'll say hundreds of billions of inscriptions on Bitcoin, which will make the wallet go from 350 gigs to 20 terabytes?
Yeah, and I think right now, any minute now, we're going to be crossing over the 100,000 inscription mark. And that was like the big marker from the initial point. That's why there was a big rush. So I wonder what's going to happen there.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the ball's going to still keep rolling, but the whole idea was try to be one of those legendary inscribers within the first 100,000. I don't know why, but
exactly
that was just the
I
number
remember you were talking about that in the discussion. Like, who cares about being the first? Well, some people apparently care.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to something different from. This is a terrible segue into Celsius. Celsius reaches acquisition agreement with Nova Wolf, and if you guys needed a refresher on what's going on here, Celsius is trying to figure out, well, I guess the people who are handling their case, I don't know if Celsius cares so much, but they're trying to figure out how to get the assets back for people who didn't have the earn program, that were just custodial assets that had, that were allowed to keep their assets with Celsius. We don't yet know what is going to happen with the earn people, but those people are supposed to be able to get 94% back of what they put in, which is great for those people. But a lot of us use the earn program because the earn program was the whole point of Celsius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of people want to actually create a lawsuit against Celsius because when there was an update to separate earn and custody, they were defaulted to earn and not given the choice to move over to custody.
But that's also because the custody wallet version was only set up for people who were accredited. I mean, this is the whole point that was screwed most of us on it, is that to be accredited in the United States, you must have a net value of $1 million or be making $300,000 a year. I think the number's slightly higher now, maybe 400,000, but for a while that was $300,000. So you're I mean by yourself. So if you're married, you alone have to make 300,000. Your spouse can make whatever, but one person needs to be making 300 grand a year, or have a net worth of 1 million, not including the value of your home. So it has to be like cash. You have to have $1 million in cash in order to be accredited. Most people don't have that. I mean, a lot of people do, but most people don't. And this is the problem with accredited, and it's the thing that I hate about accredited in general, is that they're just basically saying, we want you, quote unquote, poor people to not be able to invest so you don't lose your shirt. And I was like, who are you to judge whether I lose my shirt? So anyways, that's my beef with accredited. But the fact of the matter is, people who were forced to go into the earn program, and then it wasn't immediately, but it was like, 4 months later, that's when Celsius went belly up, shut everything down. So it's like, I shouldn't, I'm pissed that I was fooled by a rug pull, or in this case, a pyramid scheme. But it's like, well, I get the option. And I guess what Celsius should have done, ideally, of course, being a scam, they're not going to tell you what the right thing is to do, is to just force everybody to withdraw if they weren't accredited.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what they did. So we're in this pickle of a situation.
And that's why the UCC...
Because criminals were trying to steal our money.
Yep, and that's why the UCC is going to sue Alex directly. Just because there's a lot of solid proof in the report. What was the report called? The examiner's report that came out. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago? That has a lot of solid evidence that he was doing a lot of fraud there, and it's literally black and white. If you guys download the The examiner's report, the Celsius examiner report, it's a few hundred, that's a few hundred pages long. Super detailed. If you guys want to know the history of every conversation that was held through Alex and others, it's all there. It's all in detail, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of lawsuits here on after, and I'm sure jail time is going to be coming pretty soon too. It will not surprise me, But first, let's get this settled.
Okay, so more crime with Sam Bankman-Fried. This is a very short article, but we still need to just make the point. So you may remember that Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested and has 8 indictments against him, but he managed to post bail. Oh, I completely understand not wanting to be kept in the Bahamians prison because it was disgusting. He didn't seem to mind, at least initially, probably because it's nice and warm over there. Anyways,
he was complaining. He was complaining that there was no vegan food.
Oh, that's right. He did complain about that. Nevertheless, all right. Well, he was be keeping. I think they kept him in the hospital ward, not in the main in the Gen Pop area. In any case, they did bring him to the United States, and he posted bail. Now, how much was his bail, John?
It was $250 million.
It's $250 million.
Mm-hmm.
So roughly 120th of the value of his company. Nevertheless, a very, very large amount of money. Not $1 million. $250 million.
And for the longest time, the people that bailed him out were kept confidential.
They still are as of writing of this article, but that will be unsealed shortly because the judge has ordered co-signers to be unsealed. Now, for this article, at least 2 people put up $700,000, and his parents put up the collateral of their house. I don't know. I mean, I do know of a house that's worth $250 million. I believe that's Aaron Spelling's house in Southern California. But that's one of 2 houses that might be worth that in the world. Not a lot. I mean, yes, there's some expensive houses in the Silicon Valley area. I've seen them. You can check them out on Redfin or Zillow, and you can see that there are houses worth 10, 20, maybe 50 at the most $1 million. But that's not $250,000. So somebody else put up this money, and we're going to find out who that is soon.
Yep. Who do you think it is? I think it's CZ.
I don't think CZ. It's got. I think what's his name? This the guy who had all the $15 million.
Who?
And Mr. Wonderful, I think, wasn't he? Was the one? I can't think of his name.
Look it up.
Anyways, he was heavily invested in Sam Bankman-Fried's company. Obviously, he lost $15 million on this kid. Yeah. O'Leary, right? He lost a lot of money. Now, is Kevin O'Leary worth enough to put up $250 million of his own money just to save this kid? I'm not sure that he loves him that much.
Yeah.
His parents weren't willing to do it. Actually, no, his parents put up their house. So, I mean, they were willing to help.
Man, I would have just... I don't know, man.
The thing for me is
what would you do, man,
it's like someone really has to like this guy a lot in order to want to put up any amount of money.
If he's your child, what would you do?
I couldn't answer that question. I'm gonna put it this way: if your kid was a murderer and not just a person who stole billions of dollars from people, let me put it in that context. I would probably say no. It is only allegations at this point. No one's proved anything yet. But the thing I want to make a point of is your kid, once they're out in the world for 10 plus years, like Sam Bankman-Fried was at this point, they're their own person.
Yeah.
Now, if the circumstances under which the thing was happening was very sus, yes, I might be willing to put the money up. This is not sus. This what's going on here is pretty glaringly obvious what was going on. And this is the thing that bugs me about about lawsuits that are out in the open like this, when you can dig out information as we've been reading this news all this time. It makes me wonder, would take it upon themselves to say, oh, well, the person's definitely innocent. Are you completely blind? So he's his own person. He has to defend himself.
Yeah.
Let's get on to some cool news then, right?
Final Fantasy. All right. My favorite game. I love Final Fantasy, so it's always good to see another news article back on Decrypt talking about Final Fantasy, right? Square Enix is back talking about launching a new game on Polygon instead of Ethereum because Ethereum is too damn expensive. Hey, who's that mayor? Who was that guy running for New York? I think it was New York mayor. The renting is too damn high, right? Ethereum network.
Okay.
The Ethereum gas fees are too damn high. Even though they're so much more affordable now than they were a year ago. No joke. No joke. Right now
if you didn't know, we talked about this at the beginning of the year. January 4th was the last time we talked about Square Enix. But Square Enix is going ahead. And when are they going to release this game?
It doesn't say. Well, it says first announced last November, but it doesn't say when they're going to actually release it entirely. It just Symbiogenesis is the game that they're trying to release. And they're going to be coming out with I think 100,000 NFT game characters. That's going to be built around the game mechanics.
I think it'll be as popular as the Reddit avatars.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Actually, sorry, I said 100,000. This is 10,000. But yeah,
10,000 character NFTs.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I mean, 10,000, that's only as many Bored Ape Yacht Club characters as there are, so that's not a whole lot. I would not be surprised if these characters go for a lot of money.
Absolutely. I would love to pick one of these up, man. I was really, really, really daring about picking up one of those trump cards, but now I want one of these. I'm just joking.
You wanted a trump card?
Yeah, I want that Trump astronaut one, man. But yeah, I love Final Fantasy. So the thing is, the biggest dilemma in the crypto space right now is onboarding. Period. Okay, I've had this conversation. I think like 6 times. Yeah, 6 times this week with just random people, right? Random groups, and the biggest friction that we have right now with the masses is onboarding, the simplicity of onboarding individuals into Web3, right? I was actually having a conversation earlier today, right before the podcast, with another group, talking about utilizing NFT verification. It sounds complicated, but onboarding it, we're going to try to make it as easy as possible.
Having an NFT key is what we were talking about for a long time. I know, John, I don't know if you didn't obviously pilot that idea, but you've been talking about it for a long time, and it's kind of this: if you have this NFT, you have access to a whole bunch of different things, and it's in a sense, an NFT makes it a little bit easier to get into stuff. If you have that thing in your wallet, then you can just connect your wallet, and boom, you have access to all that stuff that NFT key gives you access to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So NFTs can be used for a whole lot of different things, not just as a pretty picture or a valuable Bored Ape.
Yeah, hopefully Ordinals will catch up one day on those. Right now, it's just everybody just minting their gifts on there, but I'm sure the technology will advance soon enough. But the thing that fears me about that Ordinals is just the bloatware. I want to see what happens with that. That's my only fear. I love the fact that we got those nodes popping up. It's growing. It's decentralized. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, man. Bitcoin has been reborn. Not reborn. It technically was always alive. It's been given a second chance.
It's interesting. This is just kind of an update. Like, hey, we're still doing this Final Fantasy NFT game, but it's nice to see someone take it seriously and say NFTs are a worthy thing, and they do all kinds of neat things. And like I said, that it's not just the trade value. Because like I said, I've mentioned all the time, I still play Upland. and I love the game, even though it's very simple. I like the fact that NFTs can make it so that you can own something outside the game. Right? The one thing I've said, I don't know if I've said this more than once on this, but I've wished that Blizzard had been okay with the idea of doing NFTs with the characters within the World of Warcraft game. Because if you could make your characters into NFTs explicitly, then you could have all kinds of, because there's all the gear and there's all the items you can find in the game. You can connect that all to one NFT, and then I would say each character would be, and then you could manipulate their appearance and manipulate their gear and manipulate all those different things, and then when you're done with the game, you take it with you. I don't know why that makes more sense to me. I mean, if you wanted to trade a character, so you play the character up, like remember we talked about Dookie Dash that Board 8 Yacht Club was doing, and people were gaming it so that they could get the highest score, and then have the cloud of having the highest score, winning the game, as it were. People want that. People also like having the thing in the game, right? I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed playing the World of Warcraft game as long as it's existed. And there is some prestige to having, a really high level character, but there's also the work of putting into that character. So if you wanted to at the end, like let's say you made a beautiful painting that took you years to create, or maybe a sculpture or something, did you just make it for you? There is a market for that, right? You could make something that takes a lot of work within a game to make, and then sell it, with the intention of selling it the whole time. NFTs make that possible. So that's why I think that Square Enix is onto something with
Here's
this.
Something
I really
that we
hope
mentioned.
that their example proves out.
Here's something we mentioned over and over again on the podcast. Polygon is so much better than Ethereum. And here's a quote.
Faster,
Square
cheaper.
Enix opted to tap into Polygon's high transaction speeds, low gas fees, and overall user friendliness to deliver unique experiences to Web3 fans. Yes.
We need, like I said, what's it? Sandbox is one of the first NFT games. I haven't really heard much about it at all lately. The one game that I played in the early days, which was now I can't think of it, not Farmville, Star Farm something. Gala Game's first game that came out. It's still playable, and you can still make money on it. It's still a thing, although Gala isn't worth nearly what it was worth a year ago. But it's still working. It's still a thing that's still functional. It's neat to see people prove the concept out. So I'm looking forward to seeing this Symbiogenesis game when it comes out in the spring of 2023, which is coming up. Minimum 2 months. All right. One last thing before we go. We'd like to mention that we have a CoinTree page, which you guys can check out, and you can donate to us there. You can also donate to us in Buy Me a Coffee or on PayPal. You can check out our Patreon, which we actually have content on. What's up?
I actually have something. Oh, no, it's not on here. Never mind. Another time.
Talk about it later. Okay.
Yeah.
You can still see our content on Odyssey, YouTube, Twitter. Of course, if you do see us on YouTube, please give it a thumb up. We appreciate that if you like our content. And I would say subscribe, but if you don't want our content, you don't have to subscribe. The neat thing about it is Bitcoin will still serve up our content to you if you don't subscribe, but we would really appreciate it if you do like what we're hearing. So you can also check out our website, and of course, join us in Discord. Well, one of the things we're trying to figure out how to do here right now is how to make it possible for people to join the secret clubhouse within Discord on C3 Coin. You can get the coins by doing work within Discord, but that could take a really long time.
Club
But if you
VIP.
subscribe to Patreon, you get a free ticket in. So join us on Discord or join us on Patreon. Either way, you can get into the secret club. With that, as we say at the end of every single show, we have thanks for watching, everyone, or listening, as it were. Stacksats and hodl.
Adios.